I'm Alan Raymond Redoble, or they call me here as Ray, and I'm from Philippines.
Great. It's lovely to talk to you today. You're an old friend of mine, and you also spoke to the Carlisle One World Centre at our AGM 5 years ago when we were looking at one world living in the city. So it's great to have you back today, especially after this last year. So could you tell us a bit about what you do for a living and what you've been doing for the last year, basically?
Right. So yes, I work as a staff nurse in theater here in Cumberland Infirmary, or what we call NCIC now. Pre-COVID days, and then obviously we know all the story what happened last year, what we call the COVID-19, and yes, it's quite a difficult year last year. Yeah,
I can really imagine. What was it like working at the hospital during the pandemic?
Right. When we start hearing about this COVID, there is just everyone's eyes, somewhat like a query eyes, what's gonna happen and thing. So what happened is we need to adapt to the situation. The whole theater has been not renovated, but moved into different settings. Like the ITU has been extended as our recovery room become ITU extension only for that time, only for those proper ITU patients, not COVID patients. And yeah, when you come into the main theater, you can see on the floor there is signage of a red and a gray area of where to go. There are signs on the walls says do not enter. You need to have the full PPE, FFP3, gown and mask and things like that. And yes, at first you can see we are quite worried, of what if this is the first part of the pandemic. Pressured, I don't know if that's the right word for that one, because obviously we need to do some cases that is allocated for our theater, and obviously because of the changes, it's somewhat difficult to complete what needs to be done for the day. And obviously it's quite challenging as well, challenging in a way that there's loads to do, and you got a lot of things not to do because you need to follow the rules to keep safe for everyone else and for the family or for the patient as well. Yeah. I won't give you the full details because it will take a long time for it to explain, but that's just how it's difficult to be working in that environment. That's just in the theater. ITU wise, they got their different story, and I bet it's more, let's say, difficult than my story, obviously, because we can just see them next door to our theater. Yeah.
Wow, so everything was different, including your job as a theatre nurse. I'm sure normal service was turned upside down. Can you describe a typical day, how it was just different to usual, I suppose?
So when pre-COVID, yes, let's say it's 10 theater working for the day, and depending on what specialty you are, there's an average of 4 to 5 cases done every day, right? So imagine that one. And it's hope during the time it's quite good to finish most of your cases, but during the pandemic, there's a big change from having 10 theaters, let me say, to becoming 3 only. So that's quite big amount of change. And with that one, there is what we call at the first thing in the morning, the first thing you need to do is check your respirator, the mask. This is to check if all the attachments, all those things are connected properly. That's for your safety. That's the first thing. And then after that one, we're gonna have our department meeting. So that's the whole department, theater department, from scrub side, recovery, to ODP side or anesthetic side, to give this meeting from the head of the department and what are the changes, what are needs to do, the protocols. And then after that one, there's a question and answer. Obviously, all our doubts, all our concerns are being raised up. And obviously, we don't know what to do about it. So everything is hanging on. And then they're gonna say, oh, we'll look after that one and we'll get back to you. So it's just like you're working unsure of what next to do and things like that. And then after, we're gonna have a team planning. Obviously, as I mentioned, it's only 3 theater. So the team will be composed of who will be doing the scrub or the dirty side, which is the one inside, who will be the clean runner and the cleanest runner, as what we call. So those are outside the theater, that if we say, oh, we need this and that, so transmit it to the other person and give it to the other person to go to get this stuff. Because inside the theater, before, all we need is inside the theater. So as soon as the surgeon say, oh, I need this suture, you just go down there and grab it. But because of this change, the theater is empty. Nothing is in there except for things that we need that time. And if they say, oh, I need this, so transmit it. So it takes longer than the usual. And yeah, we got this called body system, that before we start to be inside the operating room, need to check if your mask is fitted well, if you get your shield on, if you get your gown on, everything. So I check my partner check me that I'm all covered and protected. This is not only for myself, but for everyone else in the team. So as I mentioned, from 10 to 3 theater, from 4 to 5 cases to only 2 to 3 cases for the day. So imagine that backlog that we got from that point. And it's a lot. Imagine if we got all the kit in your inside theater, depending, as I say, the specialty of what you're doing. Wearing the mask for 1 hour will be fine. How about 2 hours, 6 hours, or 8 hours or more? With the full kit on, you're sweating, it's too tiring, you're shouting because obviously with the respiratory, your colleague won't able to hear you properly. All they can see is your eyes, covered. So you're shouting on top of your voice, your lungs, so that you can understand what you're saying. And yeah, it's quite exhausting. At the end of the day, you just want to go home. But then before we go home, some of us, or most of us, go for a shower before going home, because obviously you don't want to carry something to your family as well. So a lot. It's a different ball game this time. And I think most of us still doing it. If you're gonna go home, have a shower first before mingling with your family, because you want your family to be safe as well. So
of course.
Yeah.
Wow. So you were down to three theatre, three operations, and I'm sure that included emergencies and things like C-sections. I mean, I know you delivered my friend's twins. That just before the pandemic.
Yeah.
But they were the kind of things that went ahead.
Yes. So those in maternity, there is a team for that one, specific only for them, and then all obviously emergency cases. And with the emergency cases, we got a special 2 theaters that is for patient with COVID positive itself. And working in there is more, I don't know, more emotional in some point, especially if you can see the patient coming in and all. Maybe if I am the patient when I'm gonna be there, it's more scary in one point, because yes, I've got COVID, and yes, when you look at people around you, you can't see a face. All you can see is the eyes, and we're all covered with, everything is protected. It seems like you're in an alien world, with people around you, and yeah, you can see on their eyes that they're scared. And on our side, we're trying to show to the patient that, hey, you'll be fine, thing like that. So you're trying to be brave as possible, so that you can do your job and thing like that. So yeah.
Wow. Really difficult times. What kept you going? What gave you hope during the worst days?
Yeah, I think seeing my colleagues working professionally, we take a day as what it takes. I think as well, hearing about having a vaccine coming, and we're booked in already for that one, and the care that everyone is showing to colleagues and obviously to the patient makes me, say, come on, let's work together. We can deal with this. This is just a virus. We'll get over this one. But yes, it's really, how would you say, unknown. How, the question of how can we defeat this one? How can we overcome this one? It's just there. Even I think even now that we got the vaccine and thing, how long are we gonna take our mask or put our mask on and everything? So yeah.
I know, yeah. And then personally, what helped you get through, wind you down at the end of a long day?
Yeah, what for me, what I do is, let's say we're gonna say thank you for the day as well, and prayer is quite my thing. There are times that if it's quite a lot for the day, what I do is, before coming in the house, or have a shower first at the hospital, and then before going home, I said, I'll ring home. I said, can I go for a run first? Run with your headphone on, whatever music you want. It's just to leave everything, de-stress, and fresh air. But obviously, you're still worrying about who are you meeting on the street and things like that. And obviously the family that keeps me going as well. I think because of this pandemic, we become more closer. Not only the one who is near you, also those who are far from you as well. And then you just miss, miss them.
I know, yeah. We're all missing our families away. How are your family in the Philippines doing now? How's the Philippines been affected by all this?
I think it's quite hard because Philippines got their own government. I mean, the way they deal with it is different from what happening in here in UK. Let me say, I'm quite happy that the way things work in here. My family is fully vaccinated, all of us except for little Uriel. It's because of the situations that we got. But in Philippines, yes, I keep on asking or checking, especially my mom or my older aunties and uncles. if they get their vaccine and things already. It's, I may say it's a bit slow, but hopefully they will get it in there to have them vaccinated and to get it, you know, on control. Because as I say, it's some areas the cases are getting high again, and those places are where my relatives and my family are. So, you know, you're here as usual. This is the sacrifice that we got when you go abroad, isn't it? You're away from your relatives and you want to help, but you're far away. So all you can say is, you know, follow up them and check again and things like that. But hopefully it will be fine with constant reminder as well. Yeah.
Yeah, all you can do is tell them to stay safe and that you're thinking of them. Yeah. Wow. Is there anything else you'd like to tell us today about how things are?
Yeah. Maybe I can say is, stay safe. You need to take care of yourself and others as well. Keep connected with your family. Yeah, communicate. And I may say, for those who are still waiting for their slot to have their operation, just wait. How would I say? Be patient. Be patient. More patient, because we're trying to do our very best in the hospital. And yes, as if you receive a note that you need to isolate, you need to do this, you need to do that, follow the instructions, because one little thing that is not followed, that will have a domino effect at the end of the day when you go to your operation. Because if that is not done right, obviously time will hold again, and obviously with that, the rest of those who are waiting will hold again and will be cancelled again for the day. So yeah, we will get over this.
We will. And thank you so much, Ray, for all you are doing, for all you have done. And please pass on our thanks to all your colleagues at the NHS.
I will.